Hey everyone, this is Josh with Wright Piano TV. Today's episode is going to be exploring how we can improve speed, and this video is in response to Dave's question. There are a lot of different things that we've discussed in previous videos about improving speed, and I thought I'd just offer a couple of additional things that can help us to improve speed and also help our accuracy and things like that. The first thing that comes to mind when we're talking about speed, I talked a little bit about this in a previous video, is really thinking about what we have when we're trying to improve speed. What are the elements that go into that? Obviously, time is the biggest element. We want to compress the notes into a smaller amount of time. This is just kind of looking at it from a scientific approach. So we would then need the space in between keys to be shorter. Okay, that's pretty common knowledge right there. But when we really get down to the basics and think about that, really amazing stuff starts to happen. I'm going to just play really slowly an example from the Mendelssohn Concerto in G minor, third movement. I actually learned a lot about improving speed in this piece, and through a master class I had the opportunity to participate in when I was 12. I played this piece when I was 12 with the Utah Symphony, and previous to that, Angela Chang had come to Utah. She's a really famous concert pianist, and we'd gone over a lot of these different concepts. So before I dive into what we went over in that master class, I'm just going to go ahead and play just a really quick little passage, a few measures. For anyone who knows that concerto, red flags are probably going off there. When I was 12, my hands were so small that I had to compress it down to these triads because it's really written. My hands weren't big enough, so I'm just playing the way I originally had learned it. So I'm going to play it faster now. So how do we get from point A to point B there? A lot of things go into improving speed. The first thing that we want to do is we want to minimize our effort. I see a lot of students, and I used to do this a lot as well, they play really high fingers. Now that's a great exercise if we're wanting to get something really strong, but if we're wanting to get something fast and fleeting, we want to kind of avoid that. So that's taking way too much effort. You can see that my fingers are really lifting and they're working way too hard to accomplish the same thing if I just remained on the keys. See, I'm only giving about that much depth to how much my finger moves rather than that much. So get rid of that extraneous motion, because that's just a complete waste of energy and it really is going to slow you down. The next thing I like to do to accentuate that point is, this is an exercise that my teacher had me do. I like to pull the key, the cover down, whatever you call this, and I like to have it hovering above my fingers maybe by a half an inch. If we just have half an inch there, we're going to not have very much room to move. So see, and I didn't play it perfectly there, but that is forcing me to stay really close to the keys by not letting me come off. Whereas, I'd be hitting that keyboard all the time. So having this right there is a great exercise to do. The next exercise that I would have anyone do that's trying to improve their speed is to check how loose they are. If you have any sort of tension always slows us down. Right now I'm working on the Chopin Polonaise Fantasy, And one of the sections I'm having a difficult time with is this little section of thirds. See, if I get tense at all, but when I'm loose, you're able to play a lot faster. So the same thing here. How, you might ask, how can I check that? How can I check if I'm loose? Angela Chang did this little exercise with me, and I'll always remember it because my arms were so tiny at that time, and she's quite a strong lady, and I'd just be playing, and she said, okay, I'm just going to lift your wrist. I'm going to kind of hit your wrist off of the keys, and we're going to see how tense you are. So this is kind of what happened. I'm going to pretend like this was her hand. That's about how it happened the first few times. And she said, relax, you've got to relax. And I just thought, I am relaxing. And then she said, no, your arm should be coming like this because you should just be so relaxed. So, like, there's no tension in your arm. It's just kind of like, kind of just limp almost. And when you're able to do that, we're able to really get a lot more fleeting sound. That's true of anything. If I know I've demonstrated the Winter Wind Etude before. I think that's just a great example. That's why I keep using it. You know, I used to play it about this tempo. I think I was 13 when I played that, when I first started playing that. That was about my tempo. Now, and look at all that tension and extra effort. You can see my hand moving up and down. You can see a lot of tension in my forearm, my wrist, my hand, and my fingers. And, I mean, yes, it produces a strong sound, but we're wanting a fast, fleeting sound. So, with that thought, with just this complete looseness, I want you to think playing horizontally rather than vertically. That's going to really help you to minimize wasted effort, and it's going to help you maximize your speed. Same thing with scales. Have you ever seen students do this? You know, why all that effort? You might think, if I'm staying so close to the keys, how am I going to have a loud sound? Well, that's the whole point of this. We want to get all of our sound from our arms and really from our back. All the sound should be produced from your core. So when you go to play a scale, rather than pushing so hard with your fingers, rather let your fingers be nice and curved but loose. They should be able to move around really nice and loose like this. So you're able to produce a lot quicker of a sound. If anyone has any other questions regarding speed or any other questions or video requests, please email me. My email is josh@joshwrightpiano, and I would love to do a video segment on whatever question you might have. Thanks for joining me today.